Every time the old man checked into a hotel room, he would first shave off every bit of body hair with a razor. Then he would carefully wash himself from head to toe with iodine solution. Finally, he would cover the entire room with thick plastic sheets, leaving not a single gap exposed. That was because he was a professional corpse disposal expert. Over the years, he had already handled more than 100 bodies. The reason he was so cautious was to ensure that after completing his work, not a single trace of himself would be left behind. Once everything was prepared, he took out various tools used for disposing of bodies from his suitcase and quietly waited for his next client to arrive. At that moment, this so-called client was still alive. He was appearing in court as a key witness, preparing to testify against a South American drug lord. However, during the trial, one of the jurors suddenly suffered a heart attack. In order to maintain order in the courtroom, the judge had no choice but to announce a temporary recess. As the key witness in the case, the man was escorted by FBI agents to a waiting room. However, that was also where he would meet his end. The moment he entered the room, he discovered that the agents who were supposed to protect him had already been murdered. The two agents standing in front of him were actually assassins disguised as FBI officers sent by the drug lord. Not long after, the witness's body was delivered to the old man. Before handling any corpse, he always took a photograph of the victim first, keeping it as his own trophy. After that came the work he was best at. He didn't need to cut up the bodies and dump them in the wilderness. Instead, he simply dragged the corpse into a bathtub and used chemical agents to completely dissolve it, leaving police with no valuable evidence to investigate. When the trial resumed, the FBI agents finally realized something had gone wrong, but it was already too late. Their most important task now was to capture the killers as quickly as possible. A few hours later, the agents finally tracked down the two assassins. Surveillance footage showed them carrying a large black bag into a motel, but when the agents arrived at the room, it was already completely empty. The only things left behind were a few strands of human hair and some dog fur. It turned out that every time the killer carried out a mission, he brought along an adorable little dog and disguised himself as a kind, harmless elderly man. That way, no matter which hotel he stayed at, the front desk staff would never suspect him. Just as Agent Lily was starting to feel completely lost, her phone suddenly rang. The call was from the FBI's specially hired criminal consultant, known as the Red Devil.
Tape residue on the walls?
How do you know that?
Look in the tub. Run your fingers around the drain. What do you smell?
Chemicals?
The stew maker is in town.
The Red Devil gave her a detailed background report on the cleaner. The man had once been a top-level chemist, so using chemicals to dissolve bodies was effortless for him. Besides taking photos of his victims as keepsakes, he also